Welcome back. Welcome
Hello,
back,
hello. Thanks for having me.
everyone.
Welcome.
Happy to have you all here. And especially you.
Hey,
Yeah? What has it been a week?
two? Well,
Well, you were on
counting the
Sunday.
weekend, but yeah,
Good episode on Sunday.
that was. I'm glad we finally got to. We've been itching to cover that one for so long.
Yeah.
It needs to. It's a major point of contention. The
Can't say
mark
that
of the
today's
beast.
episode is going to be any good, though. I can't say that. I
No,
could
it's gonna
say
be terrible.
I could say that it's going to be fun,
Hey,
but good or bad, I don't know. I think we'll leave that up to other people to discuss whether or not it's good or bad because I think they have certain expectations of us.
yeah. If you consider what you want to see in the kingdom, it's gonna be
Uh,
good
okay.
because that's the sticking point for me is people who consider paradise or the kingdom of heaven on earth or heaven itself, whatever you picture when you think of something good in the hereafter from a vaguely Abrahamic standpoint at minimum, what do people usually seem to picture? They picture either a place where it's just everything they want and like an entire world, like what dreams may come, where your heaven is shaped by your own imagination and will or what you consider to be happiness. Then there's others who picture just bliss, just blind, pure, unadulterated bliss, never ending.
Some might view chaos as something enjoyable, kind of like river rafting or kayaking on rapids of the Colorado River.
Well, there is something to be said for controlled chaos in a way.
Yeah, like near death experiences.
There are plenty of us adrenaline junkies out there who like to have a good time a bit more on the edge.
I would say the guy on top there is probably having more fun than the guy that's closer to death.
I don't know. Looks like a good time either way. I'm happy to say I've never had a kayaking experience go quite that direction, though.
Straight down.
Yeah, straight down. Yeah.
Caught between two rocks and a
Certainly rolled
current.
a few times.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I'm good. Life jackets don't save you from those situations.
Helmets help.
Yeah, so your death can be slower.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not saying that that's what we're going for here, but well, cool thing, cool factor. Uh, New Kingdom. Not to say that bodies are totally disposable, but death is not a finale in the New Kingdom. Physical death.
It's very much a. It's not a major point. It is still. People do still want to take care of their bodies, and uh, we've got the leaves and the fruit of the tree of life to heal people and keep health optimized,
Mm-hmm.
beyond optimized, beyond anything that we've seen in the world today. An absurd level of health. But at the same time, for those in the inner kingdom, those who truly have the favor of God and acceptance into Christ's kingdom, not the outer darkness, but Christ's kingdom, if you are smiled upon so, you're not really going to have to worry as much about losing a body because bodies are a suit that you wear. Very little more. Still a valuable thing. Someone with billions of dollars doesn't just run a Lamborghini off a cliff because it's fun to watch it fly. They might, but typically not something you would see happen. I think that's an apt analogy for the way bodies will be regarded in the new kingdom within the kingdom proper.
A lot of people think that when they go to heaven or when God's kingdom comes or, however they have it in their mind, how things are going to be for themselves. Some people default to, well, it's not going to be anything like what we have now, and I got to be willing to give up everything and everyone to be there.
In
But
many ways, yeah.
there are some factors that we should consider, and if we're worthy, this is one of them. If we're worthy
If,
to be considered for entry into the kingdom, it's very possible that those that we love may also be considered, including our pets.
yeah. Now, I haven't gone into a lot of detail about pets in the kingdom in the past because there is a bit of gray area there in terms of arrangement. See, the kingdom is going to be pristine, absolutely pristine. I mean, on a germophobic level, there's a reason sickness isn't a thing, and it's not only because of the fruit and absurdly overpowered immune systems, but also because the potential causes for sickness are going to be ruled out of the kingdom. So it's going to be a very clean place, as you would expect of heaven, right? But that means that pets won't be such a common sight within the kingdom proper.
Oh,
They're going to exist, they're going to
yes,
have their place, but
and
it's going to be a bit
uh
more
and all your bulldogs and
outward.
all your pugs will be with me on the mountain slopes, and we will snowboard together.
Yeah, you've done a bit of snowboarding, huh?
It's my favorite thing in the whole world. And this dog, he's my spirit animal.
Yeah, it kind
I,
of reminds me of you a little bit. He's even a bit ginger.
his face is exactly how I feel when I'm in the snow, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate. Being here in Baja, Mexico for so long, man, snow is one of those things you just miss. And I am so looking forward to going and hitting the slopes again. Oh man.
There's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be all sort in the kingdom. We're not just going to be all work. I've stressed numerous times how it's a productive society. People have duties and roles to
Hmm.
fulfill.
Oh
And as a
yeah.
Raelite, this has been something heavy on my heart because Raelites, we are trained to rule. We're being trained by the Lord Himself to rule in His way. And that, to a lot of us who have become accustomed to that, you think this is going to be a lot of work. Because to
Yeah.
truly do it right, to do that duty and serve, it's a burden.
Oh, we'll have to make certain arrangements for some people. Like for example, I would request some kind of arrangement to have an office established at a ski lodge, or perhaps even just some kind of mobile
We're
office that
gonna,
I can
yeah,
move
I
around.
was thinking along those lines. We're gonna set you up with a desk board.
Yeah.
You'll be going down the slopes, typing away.
Or like like a quest 3, or I could just go to work on my quests and then like go back to reality on the slopes.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
not that not
Just to,
that not that work's not a reality, but I'm just saying like if it's got to be digital, then you know, give me remote access.
you could just dictate to your assistant, as you're going downhill, just be or up on the lift or whatever you guys do. I've never touched snow, so I can't say. I'm a Florida
Well,
waterman, so
I'm gonna have a bulldog propelled board on the ice
just have
and the
it towed
snow.
by a team of them like sled dogs,
Yep.
but smaller.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Whole team of them. Sounds good.
So you're going to have a lot to do. There's going to be so much to look forward to. It's not all going to be work. It's going to be just as much play. You're going to have sports. You're going to have tests of your own capabilities against others. There's going to be competition. It's going to be good. There's going to be art. There's going to be whatever these Scottish guys are doing.
Well, I'll tell you
We're going to
what.
be chucking trees
When
because
people first saw this image, imagine that guy on the bottom right isn't there, and it's just a log coming out of my head. That's what the audience was seeing. Like, why is there a big log there? What's fun about log? And if you
throw
haven't
in.
seen Ren and Stimpy, then I guess you wouldn't understand the fun of a log. But this guy's having fun with a log.
He's
It,
in his element.
yeah, it's a '90s toy. For those of you who weren't around in
Go outside and
in
get
the
a stick.
'90s,
Yeah.
yeah,
When I was a pup, we had one toy, and it was a stick.
I don't know if Nickelodeon still owns the rights for that song, but I don't want to get flagged again for copyright. But it's log, it's log, it's big, it's heavy, it's wood, it's log, it's log, it's better than bad, it's good.
Truly astute words, sir.
Yep.
Yes. I was too young to appreciate Ren and Stimpy when it was out.
Yeah, it was like a infomercial theme song for an advertisement of a new toy called Log. It's hilarious. Anyways, yeah.
Reminds me of the Pet Rock, which, interestingly enough, it actually comes from the beaches of Rosarito,
Mm,
which don't have many rocks, which
not
means it's probably
anymore.
a bit further south of Primo Tapia.
Oh, they harvested them all.
That could be what happened.
Yeah, they sell for like a lot of money now because they're low supply, high demand, apparently.
Yeah, so we're actually in the place where pet rocks were invented. Go figure. Or at least that as a brand, the guy who made it. Ah,
And
gladiatorial sports.
we're encouraging people to sling logs.
Yeah, sling logs, wail upon each other with maces and whatnot. We're not going to be. There's a verse that mentions they will study war no more, but that doesn't mean that there's no sport of combat.
I think the guy with the shield has the advantage over the guy with knee pads.
You know, knee pads do seem like an ineffective shielding method.
And I hate to admit this, but this guy's making gingers look bad.
Can you blame him? I mean, he went for a leg shot, and this guy's got springs for legs. He just retracted his legs.
I'm just really happy for the guy that brought his kid to this show. Right, you know?
He's gonna grow up right.
That's right. That's the kind of park you want to be in. This is the place to raise children right here on the battlefield. As long as the gingers have knee pads.
That's all he needs, man. Maybe he's just that good. Oh, these things. I've always wanted to give this a try. It's something to the effect of soccer, but with. Yeah.
This reminds me of that movie with
Absolute
Jake Gyllenhaal, Bubble Boy.
Oh, yeah. Another classic. You were a 90s movie
Oh my goodness.
sponge.
I used to scream $500 over and over again when I first saw that movie. I thought that was the funniest thing I ever saw in a movie. And he's like, "You want $500?" And it was a mud wrestling match. And he won.
I don't remember.
You can't defeat a Bubble Boy in a mud wrestling match. Doesn't matter how many beautiful women you have.
Yeah, I don't see it. It's a pretty heavy disadvantage unless they just all pick him up and place him
Yeah,
outside
they
the
just
ring.
jump on the bubble and slip right off, and he just pins them down. He won that $500. He earned it too. Lived his whole life in a bubble for $500.
That sounds like a sport I'd pay to see.
I don't know if I'd live in a
Bubble Boy
bubble for
versus the
$500, but yeah. First 16 years of his life, and all I got out of it was $500.
Yeah, I'm not saying live in a bubble. Obviously, these people go home and have things they do. Hopefully, I like to imagine they have lives outside of the bubbles. You know,
we like
That
to
guy's
imagine.
that guy's probably a construction worker, a road worker with that vest on underneath. You know,
I was not imagining anything for these people, but now that you mention it, I do now try to picture how long they could possibly be in those things and remain comfortable.
imagine doing that and then going back to a regular job. What are you doing?
I would think that there's a lot of risk for injury on everything that's outside the bubble.
Nah,
Yeah.
you'd be fine.
Like you could
Roll
roly
around.
poly around until you finally get to your legs and really just mess up your ankle or your knees because of all
You
the
just gotta noodle
momentum.
it, man. You just gotta go noodle.
And how do you get up?
Relax.
You don't have arms to push yourself up. You literally got to roll onto your legs just the right way,
You roll your way up.
or you just end up being like a turtle on its back. You just like there's no way to get up.
I'd take up that challenge.
I would watch. I would watch you take up that challenge.
Oh, extreme swinging. That's going to be a sport. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Not sarcastic at all. No, couldn't be.
Are there some of these things that I could not look forward to?
Maybe that one. Yeah,
'Cause
I don't actually think
it looks
extreme
like he's
swinging's
trying
gonna be a
to
thing.
like change to another swing while he's doing it, or maybe no, that's just an inactive swing. Yeah, he's just swinging by himself, and nobody's taking him seriously. Look,
They
they're
have lives.
they're having a family reunion over here. Grandma and Grandpa coming to see grandson with single dad over here.
He's finally handing off the kid.
Yep. This is why people grow up, so they don't do this kind of shit.
I mean, if that's what growing up means to you, then you're at a loss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, have a family.
Growing up means you can afford
Yeah.
the helmet and knee
Look,
pads now.
do boring stuff like stand there and meet old people to look at you with your child.
I don't think they're
Or do
particularly
this.
interested.
These are two polar opposite lifestyles, is what this is.
How do you know he's not just dropping off the kid so he can go do extreme swinging?
I think he'd be pushing his own kid on that swing.
We could get the kids doing extreme swinging, you know? give them the little helmet and bubble suit and just fucking launch them. Oh, I cussed. Sorry. I do that.
I think I said shit a couple of times, but I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
Just not just so long as we have skydiving Scrabble, I think we'll be okay.
I think people tend to view the kingdom as being a very stale, prudish place.
You
but
could
it's going to
you
be
could
fun.
spell out your expletives.
Oh man, let me fill the board. People getting accused of inventing new words in that game all the time. Well, I've got a few that might seem new.
Yeah, good luck pulling out a dictionary on this one, huh?
Yeah, he's probably got it in his backpack. Had to take out the parachute to make
Yeah,
room
yeah. What did you pack back there?
for it.
You brought the dictionary this time?
Yeah, we were playing Scrabble,
We're
right?
playing to the death.
The winner takes the backpack.
Winner takes the parachute. Oh, shit. Okay.
So yeah, why not skydive?
Yeah, why not? One of the reasons I don't skydive is I don't want to die.
But if that's not such an issue anymore,
You
or
could
if,
ride a human squirrel.
deployable bubble suits are a thing,
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, if I was a human flying squirrel, I would probably want a person to ride my back. Just to see how that goes. Add that to the bucket list.
Would it be a very large person or a very small person?
Smaller the better. But you know me. I have an affinity towards small people.
Right on.
For those of you that know me.
Martial arts. Here's another fun one. There's going to be a lot of that as well. Because, well, first of all, there are many spiritual benefits to martial arts that we could go on all day about as well, but it's also fun. Some of us get off on combat.
Some people get off on getting kicked in the balls and being able to withstand that.
That is a thing.
And I'm pretty sure this guy works with them.
I don't know about that.
I've seen people wearing these same outfits, looking just like this guy, doing the horse stance and getting kicked in the balls over and over again.
Same blue? I thought they were yellow.
Yeah, they were orange. They were wearing orange, but
probably a difference.
My opinion, it's close enough.
It's a very specific group.
Yeah.
I've heard of that.
Is it a specific group?
Yeah, it's a specific group.
Do they?
They're kind of extreme with it.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think this guy does that. But if he does.
But if he does, I don't. Okay, maybe he does,
steel.
maybe he doesn't, but I'm pretty sure he knows somebody that does.
You would know if you did know somebody that.
I don't think he'd admit to it right away. You'd have to get to know him a little bit first.
Imagine having that be the first question you have to answer in a martial arts interview.
Nobody's asking that question. They're not asking the right questions here. That's the problem.
Yeah, lots of water sports. The sea won't be what it is today, but there will be large bodies of water all the same. You're not just going to get rid of the entire ocean. Seas, maybe. One sea or another. As Scripture does say, the sea would be removed from its place. The mountains and the islands would be moved from their place, but there will still be these things, just not as they were, or not as they are now.
Mm. Hopefully less sharks.
I don't know about that.
I never... Yeah, sharks... That's one of the reasons I kind of was like spooked about the ocean when I was a kid. Because of that movie Jaws.
And yeah, shark attacks do happen. Actually, recently there was one in Egypt, I believe. It was pretty bad. Like, that dude actually got eaten.
Yeah.
Not just bit, but eaten.
I was very traumatized by movies when I was a child. I watched a lot of movies growing up. I was like
Jaws got me too.
You know, like that guy
I still love to swim.
Cable Guy. Remember Cable Guy with Jim Carrey? Kind of grew up watching movies. I felt like that kid growing up. And I'll tell you what, there was one movie that got me like really frightened of white supremacists. RoboCop.
They're in that?
It was a gang of white people. I mean, back in the 80s, there were no other gangs of white people. So, yeah, okay. I just pretty much chalked that up to white supremacy. And anyways.
Okay.
You saw what happened.
Had a particular fear of white supremacists?
I assumed later on in life that's what they were.
Didn't have too many mirrors at your house, did you?
I think there was some mild association between RoboCop and American History X at some point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sure if I've seen that one, but okay.
Edward Norton. Yeah.
He does some interesting stuff.
Yeah, the very first movie that showcased prison rape.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That was the first one? That came out before, was it Shawshank?
Yeah.
Huh. Oh, yeah, because Morgan Freeman still, he hadn't developed all of his freckles at that point, so he was still pretty young.
Mm. Yeah, he had yet to achieve his deification status.
I think every time someone saves a puppy, Morgan Freeman grows a freckle or something like that.
A puppy, is it?
I don't know.
Is it a South Park thing?
It's a meme. But
I think it's a South Park joke.
So, Chappelle, Bill Burr, you're going to have comedians in the kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, a lot of these comedians might be surprised to find themselves in the kingdom.
There's one thing I noticed right away. Okay, first thing, one guy's black, the other guy's white. In case people didn't notice, but just to make it that much more clear, the white guy, they actually had to take away all of his pigment in this. Bill Burr isn't normally that white. They made him even more white than normal to increase the contrast.
It's fascinating. I think that was just the way that shot looked.
They didn't actually have to make him look any whiter than he is.
I think it's from like a thumbnail that was already out.
But he's ginger. Like, that's not hard.
I mean,
he looks white anyways.
It's hard to be ginger when you have nothing going on up there.
Well, yeah, when he shaves everything off, he's just white.
Default white.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So the point is, you're going to have comedians in the kingdom. You're going to have lots of stage play of all sorts. You're going to have comedians and dirty jokes. Yes, that's a thing that will exist in heaven that already does.
And people will still make fun of other races and segregation and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, if it's funny, it's funny.
That's I hope that doesn't go away, really.
Well, people are going to be, on one hand, a lot more interested in how each other feels. We're going to have more empathy to begin with. But at the same time, we're going to have thicker skin. People who don't know how to laugh at themselves probably don't have a great chance of making it to the kingdom in the first place. We'll
make fun of like the era of pronouns that we're living in now. Like in the future, we'll look back on this time and be like, "Do you remember the they thems?
Well, all of that is
the Zers."
All of that is social engineering. It is meant to come about at a time such as now to really create a contrast between who's going and who's not.
So it's we're talking about contrast here. I don't think it's by coincidence. I'm just going to turn this image off so we can stop talking about race. I feel better now. I was really tempted to do it again, but yeah. I'll never feel good about dancing, though.
It's not really my thing, but I respect people who can do it. It's especially when you're doing it at that level. It is extreme athleticism required to really dance. I respect it. I do.
And you don't have to be a homosexual to have rhythm. It's true. You don't have to.
I think you're right,
But it's very common, and I don't know why. Why is that?
I think it's a
confidence thing, I think.
It might be.
Yeah, because they're just so comfortable in their own bodies.
Attention, love of performance,
And
freedom of expression. I think that's a lot of gay guys and mostly gay guys. I think gay women tend to be less expressive in the experience that I've seen. Plenty of exceptions, I'm sure, but just as a generality.
Yeah, well, you know what it could be.
Gay guys are way more. They're just expressive.
That's the word, though.
Dancing is very much.
That is the operative word. Is gay. Now, people might not realize it, but gay had the original meaning meant happy.
Yeah.
But it still has that meaning. So by default, homosexual people are prone towards happiness. Because they simply, once they come out of the closet, they basically tell the whole world, I'm happy. Right?
Yeah. Let's go with that. That's how it works.
Good for them. This is by design.
Why are you gay?
And art will still be a thing, of course. Things of
Grand
beauty.
theater. There
Yeah.
will still be performative everything. I mean, what we see in Hollywood now, there's a dichotomy, I think, behind the scenes of factions between those who are for the kingdom and those who are not. But at the same time, there is an artistry and a craftsmanship that goes into that. And yeah, symbolism and all of the subtle things, but there is a place for it in the kingdom for those who are doing it for the right reasons and have something to offer, especially a story worth telling.
I'll tell you what, brother. I know we had this conversation earlier, but going in a place like this, every time I've been to a nice theater, I always felt underdressed for the occasion.
Been there, yeah.
And I think it's because I didn't have a cane or a monocle
Or Cane with a Sword.
or a pompadour hat.
Yeah, I went to, it was actually my Aunt Ruby took me when I was in college to see, it was an extra credit thing to see Fiddler on the Roof. It was during Topol's farewell tour, so it was his last tour, last time anyone was going to be able to see him play in that role in Fiddler on the Roof. He was the main old guy. I forget the name, but that was a very cool experience. But at the same time, yeah, I felt way out of place going to something that I don't know, refined.
Hmm. Bit of a culture shock, huh?
Not that much. I just I dress as I do now. It's
Hmm.
nothing very assuming. It's functional clothing. It covers the meat suit sufficiently for the climate.
Florida man
Yeah.
in a refined place.
Well, I mean, it was a theater in Florida, in Jacksonville of all places, so the bar wasn't that high.
Well, so you were still in your element. There were still Floridians
Oh
around
yeah,
you, and
yeah.
you
But
weren't.
it was a
Yeah,
cool place to be. It was very.
nice.
I can really appreciate that that is going to be something of value. Just being able to set all that up, everything that goes into stage prep. I went to an art school for a little while for writing, so I appreciate the storytelling of it. But as someone who grew up in construction as well, understanding what goes behind the making of the sets, just creating that visual landscape in such a way that you can swap it out and just move things right around and have all this interchangeability and create a whole vibe, a whole new place right there in front of everybody on a dime. That is an awesome thing to me.
It's usually in the historical periods around the world. It's usually post-war eras when peace and true tranquility in a prosperous society comes about that the best art comes.
Well, just after, yeah, or sometimes some of it comes during war.
Yeah,
There's a lot of that out there too. Usually,
yeah,
it's a bit more either grim or hopeful, but yeah, after peace comes is when you see the most art, really.
yeah. Because
And
it's like the generation that follows, like that still remembers those things.
well, that's something that tends to happen more when people are struggling less.
Hmm.
So
But
when
they have
you're
that appreciation of the struggle for what they do have.
they still have the memory of
Hmm.
something worse, but they're able to stop and appreciate something good that they have now.
Yep.
And the kingdom's going to be like that. People are being shown what they're being shown now in the world so that they remember what they've been given by our Father.
I mean, so a lot of the art that we have nowadays is sort of like, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's like it's surface stuff, and it's mostly distracting. Like video games, for
Yeah,
example. I mean, yeah, it's fun to look at, and I'm sure somebody put a lot of work into it, but it's almost like some of these arts, like the creativeness of it, the craft of the trade, it's almost like it's being put to waste just by putting them all toward on video games.
well, it's not all in video games. That's
But
just where a lot of
the
it does end up.
the industry itself it's geared towards media distractions rather than
Well,
true art forms.
it is another example of bread and circus.
Hmm.
Sports, gladiatorial stuff. Yeah, it's bread and circus. If you understand the reference of ancient Rome, give them bread and circus. They'll never revolt. That's that is what that that's the role it serves now. All the distractions, all the fun, all
Hmm.
the amusement. they serve as distractions to keep people from rising up, really. But
Yeah.
not only
Yeah.
that, they serve as a test because people are going to either choose that or choose to focus on bettering the world around them.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there's so much hopelessness now
and,
that people don't really try to better the world around them.
yeah,
They've given
and
up.
I guess today's version of that in contrast would be like, instead of bread and circus, it would be like Twinkies and Angry Birds.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of that today, and at the same time, that doesn't rule out the fact that there will be these things in the future in the kingdom. There will be video games. There will be some of the best video games anyone's ever seen. However, that's not going to be as all-consuming as it is now, because now I think people often it swallows their entire lives. It's out of balance.
Yeah. That overindulgences in general, you could say that about a lot of things.
Yeah.
It's easy to overindulge when there's less responsibilities, when the necessity to go out into the world and make a living is not what it used to be. People can live, people can survive, people can even prosper doing these very distracting things. There's people that make a living playing video games.
Sure. And there's a lot more people who think they're going to make a living playing video games. Really, all they do is just play video games all day, and they're not making
Yeah.
a living
And they live off of somebody else.
often.
Yeah.
Or they work their asses off, and that's what they come back to escape with. That's often the case. It goes back to bread and circus. This is their escape from
Yeah.
the turmoil of the kingdom at the present.
You know, I saw a really nice reel, like it was a YouTube reel or short. Is it a short? On YouTube, I forget what it
Real
is.
short.
It was a short video, and this woman posted this video of her husband playing video games when he got home from work, and she was saying something like something complaintive about it, like, this is what I get to deal with. I've been working in this house all day, and he comes home and all he wants to do is play this game. And then this other woman comes on and says, girl, if all I had to worry about was my man coming home playing video games and he's putting food on the table, paying the bills, and all he wants to do is relax, that man deserves it.
Yeah.
Give this man his peace and stop tweeting with your complaints. I guess that's for another episode, but
Yeah.
you know, it's like you said, some people just use it as a means of relaxation. You know, you could watch the football game, so long as you're not spending all of your valuable time on these things.
There's a place for having a good time and decompressing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Just balance. But a big part of why I think people go out of balance with that is, well, it's not just an escape from the work of their day, but from the world itself. The people of the world, who many people I've encountered these days, there's a desire to not have a social life because what's out there to socialize with is not very appealing. The world is full of crappy people. Doesn't mean there aren't bright lights all throughout it. That's what the kingdom's going to be. All those bright lights brought to one place. So people are going to be a lot more inclined to go outside, talk to somebody, see what's out there. It's not going to look like. I wish I had thought to grab the picture. There's something, a meme of older generations talking about. I'll just summarize. Picture any street down any common industrial street down any city in America or much of the world. It's just dull, dead gray shop fronts and commerce and commerce and commerce and consumerism and power lines and billboards all the way down as far as the eye can see, and it's disgusting. Who would want to go outside in a place like that?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what's on the billboard. Like,
Just saw you flip through all the sport images.
yeah,
I kind of poke fun at the sports when I selected the imagery for this. It's you get some of the most wonderful one shot, camera frames that you can get from the world of sports.
Like, each of these has its story,
Oh yeah, this guy's story is he's having flashbacks of Nam as the ball comes careening towards his face.
It is
That
just a
is,
flash.
yeah, that's those are the eyes of a man who's seen war.
And this is the face of someone who has never seen war and is just really excited to do some LARPing with the paintball gun.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy,
Is the face of genius.
yeah, he's been planning this for years, preparing so that he could be the Terminator
Yes.
and the Predator at the same time. Look, he's even got the
Oh
Predator
yeah, the
dreadlocks.
dreads. So yeah, you'll have sports like paintball or something to that effect. It'll
And
probably be lasers more likely.
Some
But
sports are, there's a reason the Greeks did it naked, you know.
I think here we have a good reason not to do it naked.
For some people, pay extra for that. Some people light their farts on fire. I don't think that's what happened here, but it could have been what happened. I mean, it could be how this guy propelled himself so far off the ground. I don't know. Do we know?
He's lifting off. He might be a phoenix.
Oh, he's rising. Yes, Phoenix rising.
He doesn't even look like he's jumping. He's just levitating upward.
He's got so much time in the air that he hasn't even extended his arm yet to dunk the
He's
ball.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
He might dunk it. He might just drop it from orbit once he gets up there.
This
That looks like fun.
this actually reminds me a lot of snowboarding, just because the way he's turning. Anyways, good memories.
The level of control that's got to take. That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing here.
They're holding him up.
But do they know what they're doing?
They do.
Really?
That was just a perfect camera shot.
This must be college. That's got to be alumni right there.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
That does look like something you would see in a college sport.
Yeah, like these are the parents. They're clearly not involved. These are some of the students that thought they might get involved, but these people are dedicated.
I have to confess to a bit of envy. I know it's a sin, but that dude over on the right with the hat, that's an impressive hat. Yeah, him.
It's like the kind of hat you'd eat chips out of.
Exactly. Put a little sauce bowl right in the middle.
Speaking of Mexican pastimes, this is how
This
you
combines a few of them.
this is how you train cockfighting. Just give them a soccer ball.
Yeah. Animals are going to have a lot more fun in the kingdom, I think.
Yeah,
They're not going to be food.
Yeah, and we're not going to attach razor blades to their feet either.
No.
No. Sorry, that was dark.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But it's true. We're not going to do those kinds of things.
The kingdom's not going to tolerate that kind of abuse of animals.
Mm-mm. No. Just that kind of abuse of
The
people.
amount of effort we're going to be putting to just making meat, actual meat that doesn't require slaughter.
But there might be thunderdomes for people in the outer darkness.
Yeah, see, consensual. That's the big difference. These are people who consent, who understand what they're getting into and choose that, and there's a level of understanding there.
Like gladiatorial sports.
A rooster, granted, roosters will, you put two males together, they'll probably fight.
But they need a
do
soccer ball.
naturally,
That's what the cure for this situation clearly is, a soccer ball.
Soccer for world peace. I'm with it. All right.
Yeah, no, but that kind of says something though. Like what you just said, it makes sense when you think about sports now. It's like what could bring peace
Maybe that's why
between.
they call it the World Cup.
Yeah, it's like
Everyone get together, drink from the same cup, and play soccer.
it's only when the soccer game's over that they start rioting. Maybe they should make their games longer.
Yeah, the whole rioting thing. That's one thing you're not going to see as much of. The level of fanaticism. It is like a cult. It really is a cult of sports these days.
Yeah, it's pretty scary in England. I'll say that. How much they
America
get into
too,
their
it's-
teams.
All over the world, you'll see examples of it. Riots and things like that. Someone's home team won or lost. doesn't seem to matter too much which it is.
They're like gangs roaming the streets. When their team loses, they get pissed and they start. And I'm not just
Yeah.
talking about angry. I'm talking about they get pissed. Like
No, yeah, yeah.
they're really
There's
drunk.
abuse of alcohol involved, and God knows what else. Probably quite a bit of cocaine, but that's what you wind up with.
Really?
I mean, why wouldn't you expect that out of?
I don't know. I mean, I've been to football games and baseball games. I never encountered that.
I'm talking about the after parties.
Oh, well, you'd think they would be happier than.
I wouldn't know. I haven't tried it, so I can't
Oh,
really say how
yeah. I
that.
don't think it's an angry drug. I'll say
I
that.
mean, if you mix anything with alcohol, results may vary.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
And I mean copious amounts of alcohol.
To each their own. I guess everyone has their drug of choice. Mine is retro video games. That's my drug of choice.
That is a good choice.
When I saw this picture, when you sent this to me, I was like, yeah, this is probably what my man cave would look like if I could have one. It's got Donkey Kong. It's
You know, I
got
probably have
Super
a few more Legos in
Metroid.
there, and maybe some
Super
fine
Mario.
art. But yeah,
Super Mario is fine art.
granted, yeah, it can be. There is a lot of artistry that goes into games. We've already talked about that, but
Yeah.
I've got some love for it.
There's a particular verse, and I think we should probably talk about that before we close out
Yeah, I
this
think that
session.
would be a good place to
Yeah.
wrap it up because this is a concept that what we've been discussing today is about happiness and fun, amusement in the
Mhm.
kingdom. Not all work, not all play, but we always focus on the work. I think the productive, functional society aspect of it has been my focus in most of these episodes, talking about the new kingdom. But
Mhm.
we haven't really talked much about play, how we will frolic as calves.
Mhm.
So I'd like to read a bit of Malachi chapter 4. Honestly, I could read the whole chapter. It's very brief, but really I want to focus on one particular verse. Well, two verses. Oh no, it's just one. Okay. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness shall rise with healing in its wings. You shall go out leaping like calves from the stall. And to give you a visual example of what that looks like, the emotions that come with that, here's some calves leaping from the stall.
It's likening to what it'll be like when we enter into the kingdom.
Very much. It is going to be like this, especially at the beginning when we first get there. You know that transition from the old to the new. It's going to be as bright as that sun shining on those cattle. Look at the joy, man. Just pure happiness.
And they're going to a place where they belong, and they know it. They just know it deep down to the core of who and what they are. They're where they belong now. And that's basically what it's going to be like for the human race is the new kingdom will feel like a place made for us, like what we were made for too.
There's another interpretation of that verse that this brings to mind that I want to express to everyone. See, these cattle, they spend an entire season cooped up mostly.
Mm-hmm.
You see the landscape right behind them. That's pretty much what their winters look like. There's not a lot of there's not a lot of grass in wintertime for most cattle, depending where they are geographically. But
Mm-hmm. And if they were allowed out on that field year round, then there wouldn't be any grass there. It
no,
would just be mud,
no,
mud and cow patties.
they let farmers will alternate, move them to other fields, or let the land heal basically
Mm-hmm.
one way or another.
Yep.
But that's what happens when they get out because they understand the feeling of being cooped up for a while out of necessity, sure, but that's where we're at right now. We're talking about all of this about the kingdom week after week about how it's going to be, but trying to conceptualize that when we're in the stall presently.
Yeah,
We're waiting for those gates to open, and we are going to bolt
we've been stuck
out
in
into
so
that
long we
field.
almost forgot what it was like to truly have joy like these cows do right here.
And when the time is right, we will. The Lord is preparing it. this guy cracking open?
I don't know. But he's happy for his cows, just like the Lord will be happy for us.
Yeah, I've grown up around ranchers and farmers and stuff, and most of them do have some love for their cattle. Because they're joyful animals once you
Mm-hmm.
actually get to know them. They're like big puppies, you know? A little bit goofier, but goofy's relative when talking about dogs, I suppose.
Good times. Looking forward to it, brother.
That son of righteousness will rise.
Amen. Healing in his wings.
Well, thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. It was a good show. I had fun.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Gonna have a lot more.
God willing.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. If God is willing. And that said, we'll see you next time. Peaceful Sabbath. Shabbat Shalom. And we'll try to join you again on Sunday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Going over some more of the Mark of the Beast, if I'm not mistaken. We need to finish that.
Yep.
A bit more perspective to add to it.
Yep. Sounds like you're going to be with us on Sunday.
Quite likely.
Awesome. All right, y'all.
Love y'all. Bye.
Love God, love each other. Lord Rail's name.